Back from the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, the countdown has just begun. Are you ready? Let's go.
Now we're back from the dead.
I love baby oranges, like cuties, like clementines. They're like my favorite thing in the world. Now my stomach is like, it's growling really bad. It's like, give me more oranges. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So we've gone over like pre-production, production, post-production stuff. We've gone over paperwork, so you're pretty much set up to do your own documentary, or if you just want to film your investigations, because honestly that is the fun part. That's why we do what we do, right? So now let's say you did awesome, you're succeeding at your business and your life with paranormal, and you put all your stuff out on YouTube, or you get it out to people as much as you can, and then a production company comes along and says, hey, I want to sign you. So the question is, what happens next? What's a contract look like? What should you be looking for? So I thought this is a perfect time for me to go over a couple of my contracts with different production companies and different networks. Now, I am not going to state who these production companies are that I was signed with. I am not going to state the actual networks that I was signed with. I will state for the record that these contracts are up, they have expired, so I legally can talk to you about them, but I am going to keep out dates, production companies, producers' names, titles of shows and series. This is just because it's a legal issue, and when you're in the entertainment industry, you don't want to ever piss a production company off or upset a network by information that you're putting out there. So I don't want to do that, obviously, because I still work with a lot of people in this industry. So this is just kind of a general idea of what the contracts say, basically verbatim what you're looking for, and the difference in different types of contracts. One thing I will state for the record, just because you guys do know me from Paranormal Challenge, I will say that my most extensive contract that I've ever signed was for Paranormal Challenge and the Travel Channel. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention in my last video with paranormal documents. One thing that you should always do as well, if you have a crew and they're gonna be on, camera often when you're investigating, make them sign some sort of a video waiver release form saying that, yes, I am a investigator, cast member, whatever you title it, and they are going to be filming me, and yes, I am giving, this person full rights to film me. And what that does is it gives you the right to be able to use their footage. I have some old footage that I can't really show you guys because I didn't have anyone sign video releases, and I don't want any old cast members or former cast members to come back at me and be like, hey, wait a minute, I never said you could put that stuff on YouTube. So that will give you kind of authority to be using it, even if that person is no longer with your group for investigating. With that also, if you're going around town doing an investigation and you happen to catch people for like random interviews, like if the owner of the inn says, oh, the guy that works downtown at the gift store, he used to have a lot of experiences here, you should go talk to him, and your crew runs down there to interview him, you can actually just have him on tape say, will you state your name and say that yes, you are allowing us to film you. And then he should say, my name is Joe Schmo from Kokomo, and yes, I am allowing you to film me. And that just gives you another record for that person that they are allowing you to interview them and film them and use that for your documentation. Okay, so here's one of the contracts. This is a pretty standard contract. It's literally one page. So usually most of the time, not usually, most of the time you will sign a production company contract, and then you go through an extensive process with the network depending on who they actually sell the series to. So when that happens, sometimes you'll also sign an additional contract with the network. So the casting process goes like this. Either they find you on social media and they say, hey, I like you, blah, 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 blah. I want you to come, talk to me in LA for the show I'm doing. Or there will be a casting call out that says, calling all paranormal investigators. You send your info to them. If they contact you, that's when this whole process will start. Usually it'll begin with some sort of a phone interview, then it will turn, or sometimes several phone interviews. Then it will turn into a Skype interview, and that Skype interview is usually recorded. This is kind of just getting to know you, your personality, what started you in ghost hunting, what kind of paranormal experiences you've had, stuff like that. And then what they do, the production company will take that video and they will give it to the executive producer. The executive producer will look over the Skype video chat that you did and decide is their personality good enough to be on TV? Is that what we are looking for? It depends on, what the production company is looking for to fill that role or to fill that television series. Then if all goes well, you will fly to the production company, you will meet the production company in person. You can still be cut at that point. Nothing is finalized until you're actually signing a contract. So once everything goes great as planned, then the contract comes into play. So also, I might have to pause a couple of times while I'm reading you guys these contracts because I'm having to change names, production companies, and I might have to think of a way to reword something so that it's not so blatantly obvious who this contract was with. So just bear with me. This might be a little bit different than normal videos. Usually I'm really good at kind of just being forward with you guys and talking right on the spot, but this might take a little bit more time. So dear Krystal, here below are the key points that we will be agreeing to contract between us via production company located in, this one was in Los Angeles, California, and you, Miss Krystal Leandra, from Las Vegas, Nevada, will be the lead investigator regarding the TV series quoted as The Project, okay? So one other thing you have to remember in contracts is, I would say 90% of the time, the contract that you sign with the production company, if there's a name for the series, it's probably going to change. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, the production company is worried that you as a cast member may not make it through the actual background check and run with the network. It's very extensive. And so if that happens and the network actually cuts the cast member, they're not going to be able to go forward with it. They don't want that cast member's contract ending and then they go out blabbing on YouTube or whatever saying, oh, this production company is having a TV series called this and I got cut from it. So most of the time they're going to switch the name because they don't want that confidentiality broken. Another reason the name could change is they could shoot the series, shoot a pilot, submit it to, which I'll go over that with you guys in a little bit. Shoot it, send it to, the network to be approved, and the network's like, great, we love it, but we hate the name, so we're changing it to this. So that's why sometimes it's in quotes, sometimes it's like they don't even have a name for it, they'll leave it a blank with like quotes in it. And so most of the time, honestly, every contract that I've been in, the name has changed, or it will change. We have discussed with you the working title of blank. This TV project will utilize, they use my initials, KLH. This TV project will utilize KLH's unique skills and unique personality and her expertise in the world of paranormal. As respected and authority in this field, KH will be encouraged to provide technical advice and main creative input on the project. So I was actually going to be, I was going to be end up signing as like an executive producer on this project because of my like creative visuals that I have in paranormal. So that is not as common as you would receive if you were just regular cast or if you were just being brought on as a paranormal investigator. So my contracts do have that in them. Why do my contracts have that little additive? And that's just because I've kind of created a brand of me, of myself, of Ghost Girl Diaries. So when I go to sign with production companies, they can't take me without Ghost Girl, or they can't, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? So since I have created this brand, they have to allow me to sign on as an executive producer because they didn't create this brand, I did. I have it all under my name. I already have the business up and running. So that's why they need, not only that, they also usually like my creative input for the actual television series. So that's one thing that's different from a regular like contract that you would get. The terms for KLH are exclusive in participation to the project. This will be approximately 12 months long from the execution date and agreement by both parties. Both parties are myself and the production company. If blank, our production company, is in negotiations with the network at the end of this term will automatically be extended or renewed for another 90 days so that we, the production company, can wrap up business negotiations with a network. So basically they're saying if their one said network that they're wanting to go through to sell this series to falls through, they need another 90 days. They will automatically extend my contract so that they can go renegotiate with another network. Does that make sense? If a series or pilot is commissioned. Okay, what's a pilot? A pilot is the very first episode ever of whatever you're doing. So with Ghost Adventures, technically their pilot was the documentary they did like way back in the day when they went to like, where'd they go? The Washoe Club, Goldfield Hotel, all those places. Technically that was their pilot. They actually had submitted that to a film festival. It got all of this notoriety. They ended up sending that to like agents and production companies and ended up happened to get signed basically, and they became Ghost Adventures. So what the contract is saying is that you have to submit one pilot. We have to film at least one really good pilot to be able to send it to the network so that the network approves this television series. So it's a big deal. Shooting a pilot is a really big deal because you want the network to believe in you. You want the network to understand what your creative purpose is behind this television series. The exclusive nature to this agreement is extended as an exclusive option to engage KH's services. She will serve as, so this says what I am. Host, principal of talent, paranormal investigator, part of an ensemble, which means they were going to bring on a team. Basically, I was going to have, I think with this one, 4 to 5 people. I was going to be leading the team on the project for at least 6 additional cycles, including partaking as an executive producer. So this says I was going to be the EP. I was going to have at least 6 cycles. Sometimes that means 6 episodes. Sometimes that means 6 full series. So season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, season 6. It depends on how they're wording it. What this particular production company was going for was 6 full seasons, not just 6 episodes. KH's participation in the possible filming of a sizzle reel or sales reel for the project will be on a financial basis. The production of the sizzle will take place at a mutually agreeable time for KH and the production company. So a sizzle reel is like 3 to 5 minutes of what the pilot would look like. And that is, you have to pack a lot of stuff in a sizzle reel in order to show it off. And it's very important. It's a really big deal. So basically this is saying they're paying me extra for the sizzle reel because it's kind of out of the agreement terms of when we're supposed to shoot for the pilot. But they will go ahead and pay me on this production basis of finances. KH's compensation for the participation of the project will be negotiated in good faith, and it will be similar to the level of compensation of similar talent on similar programs on similar networks. Okay, when compensation gets involved, a couple of different things can happen. You can have management get involved, so I could have a manager. You can get an agent involved that will negotiate terms for you. or you can do it yourself. Lucky for me, I know a lot about this industry because I've been working in it now since 2011, so I'm pretty confident in being able to negotiate my terms. What is compensation? So for talent, there's a different fee, or basically what you're being paid for. There's a participation fee for the executive producer, in my case, and there's something called per diem. Per diem is something that you get every single day that you're on set. So basically you're paid normally somewhere between $100 to $130 a day, and that particular finance goes towards food only. Now, who spends that in a day? Nobody, but they will actually hand you cash of an envelope and say, here's your per diem for the day. Having a manager and having a agent get a little tricky. So I guess I have to be my own manager because I know the industry and the compensation and everything behind it the best. Now, when you're talking about an agent, those can be a little bit more tricky. It's harder to get an agent to sign you unless you have done 2 or 3 seasons of paranormal production. And so I don't have an agent as of now. There's really only been 2 agents that represent paranormal people in our industry. So that's people like Grant Wilson, Ghost Adventures. I don't know if they all have one, but I know at least a couple of them do. Let's see, who else? Josh Gates. So anybody that's in this industry of paranormal phenomena, they all have one of 2 agents. One of them, I guess, quit or maybe retired. One was named Joe and the other is named Alec. They are in California, and all agents in California have to have their bar license or an attorney's license. So they've been attorneys and then they turned into agents for stars, for anyone that's of higher purposes, right? I have met with both of them. I have to say that I had a better rapport with Joe than I did Alec, but they were not willing to sign as my agent until I had my own series going. So that was why I never had an agent to help negotiate these terms for me. A formal agreement will be created to sign between our production company and KH and the commissioning network once a pilot or series has been commissioned. So that means once this pilot or series gets completed and submitted to the network, there's going to be a new contract to sign between the production company, myself, and the network, depending on which network purchases it. This new agreement will reflect the terms, and it will include the production company and their standards, terms, and conditions. In the event that the production company is successful in selling the project, KH will render all services reasonably required for the production of this type of project in connection with development, production, and promotion of the series. Production schedules will be coordinated in advance so that KH will work as performed on a project at mutual agreement terms, including hiring KH a production assistant. So basically this means that they might be sending me to talk shows to talk about it, to promote it. They might, make me get into a contract to write a book or a book series. This also says that they're going to be hiring a production assistant for me. A production assistant is somebody that is with you like 90% of the time. They'll get your food, they'll get anything ready that you need for production. Sometimes most of the time they even travel with you. So it's basically like having an assistant. So they're just basically telling me any of the tools I need, like ghost gear. I have to make a list and give it to the production company, and they will fund and provide everything that I need that I'm requiring on my side of it. KH will be named as an additional insured party at the production company's insurance policies, which include workman's comp liability, errors, and omissions. So this is saying, this is kind of like the liability insurance I told you guys, but it's a little different since it's a production company. So they're saying that if I'm injured on the job, filming, which could happen, if there's any liability, any errors or problems that occur, I am being covered under the production company's insurance, so I don't have to stress about anything. Even if I get sick, the production company is going to be the one to fund any of my problems that I have. So if I have to go to the doctor, sometimes you can even negotiate terms, silly terms like, I need to go get my eyebrows tattooed before the series starts. And so the production company and the network will sign in, she needs eyebrows tattooed, and the production company will actually pay for you to get that done. I'm not getting my eyebrows tattooed. I don't have any tattoos. So it was just a random example. You can't really be like super petty. I can't say like, I need a manicure once a week. That will not be covered. It's bigger deal stuff. Like, let's say someone gets hired that has like a septum problem, when they have like the full septum in their nose, and they say, well, production company, I need help. I have this nose problem and I've never been able to afford to get it done. So the production company will say, well, since it's related to breathing, we're going to set you up with a cosmetic surgeon to get this fixed so that you'll be ready to go by the time you start filming. Don't worry, I don't have a deviated septum or whatever that's called. I've heard that it sucks though. KH's work on the project will be at first considered a work for hire. Once signed, KH will take part ownership in the final project. So that's just, once again, I'm basically an executive producer on the project, but it's saying for the pilot and for the sizzle reel, because that's the part you have to make it to get it signed by the network. So those two things, I technically won't be the EP because it doesn't exist. Does that make sense? This is not a partnership agreement yet until the series is signed between the production company and KH. Each party is solely responsible for their own business obligations up until then. The ownership and copyright of the project will be negotiated and belong to the production company, or more than likely the network. Production company and KH will agree to all matters discussed, and they are confidential. So usually the said executive producer will sign the contract. Obviously I had to sign it myself as well. Or sometimes if there's a president or an assistant president or whoever is signing it for your contract, that is who will get this document completed, send it to you, and get it back. Okay, this is a pretty extensive contract. So if there's anything I feel like I need to skip, I will, so that you guys don't get super bored with it. But this is, without showing the title, pages and pages. So this is one contract with one network, one production company. So it's fairly large. So this is basically asking basic information like my name, my address, my phone, my email. If I'm a citizen, I have to provide my social security number. So now it's going to come through and it's going to ask a bunch of questions. How did you become interested in the paranormal? How many years have you been investigating in the paranormal? Why would you think that you are a lead investigator? How many investigations have you participated in? Is your team organized? What are some of the most memorable things that have happened to you during an investigation? What are the most compelling pieces of evidence that you've discovered? What has been the most challenging part of paranormal? Have you ever been frightened by your experience during an investigation? Why do you think you would make your team strong? Why do you think what would make your team weak? Why do you think you would work well with others or work with a team? So this next part is asking you for your education levels, how far you've gone in your education. It's asking you if you're single, married, asking you if you have any kids. It asks you if your friends could give you ideas of what your best qualities are. Give me 10 words. What are your worst qualities? What's unique to your personality? What's your motivation to be on this production? What's the most daring and dangerous thing you've ever done? If you're going to be in People magazine, what would you want to be next to your picture? Describe your most embarrassing moment. What's the weirdest thing about you? Where would you have your dream vacation? What's your greatest, what do you like about competition? With competition, what could be your best for being a contestant and why? What's your favorite board game? Have you ever appeared on any talk show reality shows? Please list them here. Have you ever applied to TV shows? If yes, which one? Are you currently being considered for any other reality shows? Have you ever been charged of crimes? Do you have a misdemeanor? Do you have a felony? Have you ever had a temporary or permanent restraining order put against you? Is there litigation pending against you? Have you ever been evicted? Have you ever been in the military? Are you in the military now? Have you ever been in disciplinary proceedings with school, military, or work? Have you ever been involved in something that would publicly be negative to you? There was one contract I think I signed that asked all of us if we had ever participated in like inappropriate pictures like sent to boyfriends or girlfriends and stuff like that. And we had to be completely honest. Thank God I didn't have an iPhone when I was young and stupid, so I was like, holler, I'm clear of that. Alright, so this is the agreement. Desire to voluntarily participate in casting, which includes but not limited to interviews, auditions, considered for contestant, which is being produced by this production company. It's intended for broadcast for this network. In connection to participate with the activity, I acknowledge the following. So it's asking, are you 18 years and older? Have you lived in America? Have you, or in the past 2 years, know anyone on this program or within the production company or network that's a producer, executive producer? It like names all that stuff. And obviously, no. Are you a candidate for public office? Do you have good health? Are you under the influence of any drugs, medication, or alcohol? Have you completed the casting form? Will you follow rules by your producer when you're assigned one? Do you understand that if you're chosen that you must tape this program the dates required? If you're chosen as a contestant, you will be subject to background checks, and if basically something bad comes back, you'll be rejected by either the production company or the network or both, so you have to agree to that. I understand that I will keep all things confidential. So that is, they will tell you, sorry, you can't talk about this until after it airs. And you're like, but that's in a year. It's like, sorry, can't talk about it till after it airs. There's a lot of reasons for that. Or until you start doing like, you do interviews for promotions and stuff like that. If you have any federal offenses, do you agree to be a member of this production? I mean, it's pretty extensive. It's a binding agreement between the producer, me, the production company, and the network. Basically, if you lie, you can get in really big trouble. They'll probably kick you off if you lie about something. And let me tell you something. So let's say everything goes well. You signed your contract, everything's great, and now you're subject to the process that I hate, which is the network basically does an extensive background check on you. It's pretty intense, to be honest. They will go through every single thing you've ever put on your social media, every single thing that's public out there. If anything negative comes up, they will question you about it. If you have haters, you have haters. I'm out there, I don't care. Not everybody likes me, that's just the way it is. There's going to be people that say weird and bad things about me. There's nothing I can do about it. Really, networks know when it is bullshit, I guess is the really way to say it, and if it's something serious that we need to talk about. Usually if you have a really bad background, like you murdered somebody or you have a felony or something really bad, there's a really high chance that you're not going to get signed, and that's just because you're considered a liability with the production company. If you've had criminal history, if you've had, any of that stuff. So that's crazy. I don't like that part when I've been interviewed by networks, because when you get to the network level, shit's about to get real, like things are about to get serious, and usually they have actual lawyers or attorneys that are calling you constantly, asking you questions. Well, what about this? Or sometimes they'll compile a list of like 20 things. And then they're like, well, we saw this on your Twitter or your MySpace in 2003 or something crazy. And you're like, what? I didn't even know I still had a MySpace. So, and then they'll find I have a couple people out there that have made fake profiles of me, and they're not me. So they're like, well, did you have anything to do with this profile? And it's like, no, they've stolen my pictures, and I don't care. I have no control over it, and I don't have time to constantly report these people. It gets insane. So that part's pretty intense, but you're like so close. I am so close to getting signed, so it's a good feeling too. It's kind of weird. Have I known anyone that's gotten rejected at that level? Yeah, unfortunately, it sucks, but that's why you also need to be honest, because if you haven't been honest about something in your contract, they're gonna find out. Like, those attorneys are not funny. Like, it's not a joke, and they'll find out, and then you look like you're not responsible and that you're not reliable because you lied on your application, you lied on your contract. It's a big no-no not to do that. So those are my contracts. I hope that that answers any questions. I have more, but there's really no use going through several contracts with you guys. Generally speaking, they all say the same thing one way or another, just kind of in different terms depending on how the production company fills it all out. So if you guys have any more questions, make sure you leave them below. I'll try to get back to you on them. If you guys want to see anything next on the next video, I am going to try to get the house tour finished and edited, and the ghost hunting app finished and edited. It might be up this week. If it's not up this week, it will for sure, both of those will be up next weekend. So you guys will get to see my Ouija bar, which I'm super excited about. Seth sent me this awesome picture, which is up here, and I have it now above my desk. Seth, you're so awesome. And if you sell your stuff somewhere, tell me and I will give the link to everybody. Maybe somebody will be interested in buying some of it. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my video, and I will catch you guys next time.